welcome back to The Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and today I'm so excited to introduce my guests, Kristy and Vic. They are a husband and wife photo team here in South Florida. I had the pleasure of working an event with them at the end of last year, and I'm really excited to get to know them even more today. So, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, I'm excited to dive in. So, tell me about yourselves, your business. How long have you guys been doing this? How'd you get started?
That's a long story, but pretty much like you said, we are married. So we're a husband and wife photo team. We've been married almost 12 years and photographing weddings for 11 years together. And we have two little girls, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Our hands are full, but our hearts are also really full. We love them. They're amazing. And what was the other question?
Let's see. How long have you guys been doing this? Husband and wife.
Are you nervous?
I am. I'm sweating.
It's okay. Okay. No nerves. But that's awesome. So you guys started doing it like pretty soon after you got married.
Well, as a business, yeah.
As a business, were you doing it before?
I started before like 2009, 10, more or less.
Okay.
But I was just pretty much photographing everything.
Everything. I was going to say, did you start with weddings?
From kids to sessions, weddings, a little bit of everything, just trying things out, I guess you can say. And then when we got married, that's when she came along, and then she, was more like an assistant at the beginning.
I was not good.
And
I was not good.
It's okay.
But he taught me, and he taught me everything I know now and all of that stuff. But I remember when before we were full-time with our business, I was a teacher. So he would go off and shoot things on the weekends. And I was just like, I'm just sitting at home. We were like newly married. I was like, la, la, la. I was like, can I like come? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I would come. She
just wanted cake.
I did.
It's the best part.
Really, that's the best part. Like, we love cake at weddings. But I went along and I caught the bug, so to speak. Yeah. And I fell in love with it and fell in love with shooting weddings. And at that point, he had already said, okay, weddings is what I really love to do after dabbling in a bunch of stuff. He said, okay, I really love weddings. And when I went and I also did like engagement sessions and weddings, I was like, I love this too. This is amazing. And then kind of from there, it was just, he taught me, because he learned first. So then he taught me all those skills, like the logistical, skills of, using a camera and all that stuff.
Right.
And then we kind of just became Kristy and Vic Photography. And then we each kind of set in our roles. I do all of like the email, the marketing, social media, PR, timelines with our brides, all that stuff. And then he does all the technical stuff of like lead shooting and all our equipment and charging batteries, editing, which so he does the heavy.
Because like the art of the photography is really like your niche. Like that's like you fell in love with it.
And then correct. Yes.
And then I learned it and you're like, okay, this is cool. But then, it's running a business is a lot, especially like in this field, because you have to be good at your craft, but then you have to know how to run a business. And these days you have to be a content creator and a social media guru at the same time.
All the things.
That's kind of cool you both do it, but do you do any editing or is that all him?
Nope. I do not touch any of the editing.
You're like, I do the fun part.
I do. I really
go
do.
to the wedding, eat the cake. He has to edit.
Obviously I shoot and I guide our couples and I do all that stuff, but I do the more of like I guess you would call it like PR, public relations. I do all the marketing, the business, the social media, the, contracts with our brides and things like that. So we each have like our own roles and we kind of stick to it, and it's worked out really well.
Our personalities are like perfect for what we do.
Yeah,
like she's great at social media, blogging, writing things.
Communication.
I'm not. But when it comes to shooting or editing, then that's my area.
That's your area. That's awesome that you guys work well together, because I feel like a husband and wife team can either go real well or real bad. But also it's great because like you have your strengths, you have yours, and you use them like for good and to lift each other up. And
absolutely.
You guys have created an awesome like business.
Thank you.
And your photos are amazing. I mean, that's why I was looking, that's how I found you originally, just looking through different photographers, and I was like, ooh, I like these photos. And then for that event that we did, not gonna lie, you guys were the most expensive option. And my client was like, oh, my husband's going to kill me, but I love their photos. And I was like,
that means a lot. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, they're expensive because it's good quality. I mean, out of the options that I had for those, But she was like, I want them. Like their pictures are amazing. So that's awesome. So let's dive in because I love talking about some hot topics.
Oh, here we go. It's going to get spicy.
Strong opinions. Let's dive in. First looks. Do we like them? Do we not like them? What's your opinion?
Absolutely.
We love first looks.
Yes.
We love first looks.
It's our jam.
100%.
We try to convince all of our couples to do it. Like literally on our Zoom consultations, one of the first question we ask is, how did you guys meet? The second question, what's your ceremony start time? And are you looking to do a first look? Do you know what it is? Because
why do you like them so much? I mean, I feel like I know the answer, but I'm just curious.
Well, we did it actually when, like I said earlier, we've been married almost 12 years. And back then we actually did a first look. And back then it was really taboo. Like very, very few people did it. They were like, oh, you're going to see each other before your wedding date. Now it's a lot more common, but honestly, we love it because we're able to capture like that raw and real emotion of the couple seeing each other for the first time on their wedding day.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, because when you go and you like walk down the aisle, the bride walks down the aisle and there's like a bunch of people looking at her and then the other half is looking at him to see how he reacts. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's all that happening. And then like they get to the altar and it's just like, they smile at each other and then they're like, okay. Like there's no like hugging or emotion. Like usually it's just like,
that's true.
It's more like a rush and they run, they go into ceremony time. And there's like emotions of, the groom will cry when she walks down the aisle and things like that. But when you have a first look, it's like raw, it's real. It's like you're able to just capture that. It becomes an intimate moment on a wedding day that's like nonstop.
That's a good
wedding
point.
days go really, really fast.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just nonstop. A lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts, wedding party, people getting ready. And I feel like the first look is a time where everybody like slows down and we just like let them have their moment for like 5 minutes and they talk and they like catch up. It's so sweet. And it really just allows for more like flexibility,
That's true.
Yeah. Throughout the day. Cause usually after a first look, we go into portraits and then it lets us just have time. We work it out with our brides. So we have ample time before ceremony to just like get portraits and like do all that
without
them.
Without being so rushed.
Right. Yeah. Without trying to cram everything in that 1 hour of cocktail hour where you're trying to cram in like a million things. Yeah. So aside from logistical, it's really like
no, see, because I've always heard, I'm on the fence about the first look. Logistic wise, it obviously makes sense. But then that like traditional of like him seeing you down the aisle, I understand that. Like I totally I totally understand that. My husband was like, there's no way we're doing a first look. So we at our own wedding didn't do one. And like he boohooed, cried, but I definitely like later my mom was like, you didn't cry. And I was like, there was so much going on.
Right.
There was so much going on.
The nerves, the excitement and everything.
And it like was exciting to see him like for the first time in that moment, but also like there was just so much going on. So I totally get it. I also have a bride coming up where she does not want to do the first look, which I understand, but her venue like rental is only for 4, not including ceremony. It's 4 hours. So I was talking about making cocktail hour an hour and a half if there's no first look. And then the party's supposed to end at like 8:30. So I was like,
that's early.
Oh shoot. Like we really can't do an hour and a half cocktail hour because then you're going to have like a 2-hour reception. Like
that's really short.
So, but they can extend it, but of course it's more money. So I'm like trying to dabble that, but I haven't thought about the fact that like, everyone says like, oh, but if they're on the side of like no first look, it's like, oh, I want that moment. But it's like the first look kind of is, could possibly be a better moment because it is private and it is a better moment. You can just be yourself.
I think it's a better moment.
We've done it. We did it. And hands down, the best part of our wedding day. Hands down.
Really?
The best part of our wedding day was our first look. Because everything after that was like a million miles an hour. Like literally did not stop. And it just was like, go, go, go. And he was really hesitant about it actually.
Which is normal. Yeah. Usually guys are the ones that are like, I don't want to, miss that emotion or that first look moment.
Yeah, like what's the point of that?
Right. But it's funny because one of our grooms came up to us after he did the first look and he said,
after the wedding, I think it was like
no, after the wedding. You're right.
Around the reception or something, or after.
I don't remember exactly when, but he said it was like he had 2 first looks.
It's like he saw her for the first time twice because we did a first look and then the ceremony. Like
Right, because if you think about it, it makes sense. You see each other for the first time, just more intimate, just you two. You soak it all in, and you just have that raw, like she said, that moment where you can just talk to each other, hug, and sometimes kiss or things like that. But and then you still have that.
I always see people being like, am I allowed to kiss you?
They ask us that all the time. I'm like, I think it's fine, guys. And most of them are like, okay, great.
They don't even hug because they think so I usually tell the guys right before, I'm like, just feel free to hug her. Yeah. I'm not going to mess up the dress. I promise.
They're always so nervous about the dress.
But I personally don't think, and not just me, but according to that groom, as well, it didn't change anything when she walked down the aisle.
Yeah.
Because it's still that moment. When she's walking down the aisle, like it's
still like, even if you saw her, it's
the
still
moment you're getting married. It's the moment you're gonna say I do, and things like that. So it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, because when we got married, we didn't cry in the first look. We were just so excited to see each other. It was like literally like we were just so happy and so like excited. But then when we actually got that I was walking down the aisle, that's when he got like emotional, because it was still like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, and now it's going down. Like, it's happening for real.
Yeah.
And we've never had a groom come back and say like, I saw her already, whatever. Like,
never.
I did have one groom say like, I saw her, what do I do at the ceremony? I was like, cry again. Cry again.
You cry. You must.
And what's also interesting about the wedding day is like, you don't spend any time with your significant other.
Right.
Like, and I know a lot of people do at the reception like a head table, and they sit with all of their wedding party, which is fine and fun. But I also am like, hey, I know it's like, oh, I want to sit and have fun with everybody. I'm like, but you also haven't actually talked to your significant other all day. So if you do want to do a sweetheart table and like talk to them for a little bit, it's not like dinner is all night long. You're not going to see your friends. Like it's kind of nice to have a few minutes just with that person.
Yeah. And even when we do portraits after a first look, it's still more slow paced, more like you're enjoying that moment with each other, instead of trying to cram family formals, reception pictures, bride and groom portraits, bridal party, all within an hour, which we've done it. I mean, we do it when we have to, but it's like, it's just go, 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 go. And it's nonstop. So this, the first look allows you to just like breathe. And we always tell our brides, if you're like naturally prone to being a little bit anxious and nervous and like jittery, we would recommend a first look, because it just releases the nerves. Like, we see it all the time. After they see each other, their shoulders literally like drop and they're like, oh, okay, let's get married. Like, it's just like this peace comes over everyone. Like, our brides and grooms, they're like not even worried about anything else. Like, after they do a first look, they're literally like, all right, let's do some portraits. Let's get married. Let's have a good time. And like, the nerves really
and you see it in their bodies, in their
body
faces,
language,
just like their shoulders just drop. Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it releases a lot of those nerves, and it allows them to just, soak it in, because you don't really get to soak in much on a wedding day. Like you were saying, it's nonstop.
It's a lot.
Especially for the girls, because we wake up super early for hair and makeup, and then go from there, like all literally nonstop.
Yeah.
Hair, makeup, this, that, and then, getting ready photos and all of that. So those first look moments, it let you just
I did breathe. Have one who wanted to do like their own vows, but the bride was way too nervous to like speak in front of the whole crowd. And so they read their like a letter / their vows at the first look.
Yes,
and so it's in their video, and they still get their like voiceover of their vows, but it was a private moment.
Yeah.
And she, didn't have to feel like she was public speaking at her own wedding.
Yeah. We have a few brides that have done that before. Like, either the bride or the groom just gets anxious about talking in front of everybody, and they'll read their vows, and it's such a sweet moment, and you're able to capture that, especially if it's video. There's also a videographer there that captures the voiceover. It's always really sweet. We love that.
Yeah.
And then more tears flow. It's great. We love the emotion.
We love when they cry.
Yes.
So what should couples look for when choosing a photographer?
Oh, lots of things.
Yeah. I think I would say one of the main things is a connection.
Compatibility.
Right. You want to be able to get along.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys are a right fit. Because you're spending what at least 8 hours.
8 hours
on that day
with your photographer, like practically attached to your hip the whole time,
and like in the dressing room, and
So I think personality, and connection, like that's, I would say, one of the main things.
Right. Aside from obviously like style and
right. Because I think you do that first.
Yeah.
Because that's how you find the photographer. You first look at their style, you look at their work,
their images.
Yeah, like you're not even going to reach out to them if you don't like their photos.
Right, exactly.
But once you meet them, you want to make sure you're the right fit.
Right.
Because I do believe there's photographers for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's just something that's really, I mean, for us, it's really important that we have a connection with our couples, just because it's like, we are literally by your side for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like we have to like each other.
Yeah, you have
literally like in the same room, like, we're dealing with parents and family and all that stuff. So we have to make sure that there's, some sort of compatibility, connection, and just like overall comfort with each other, I would say is a really big thing that you feel comfortable.
Guys do engagement shoots a lot? Like,
absolutely.
Yes.
Is that like in your package, or is that an add-on?
No, we include it.
We include it. Because I think that's a great way, like, to get to know your photographers, like do the engagement and like, get used to being in front of their camera.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell them too. It's like a practice round.
Yep.
So that way, when the wedding comes, you feel more familiar. You're just more comfortable in front of them.
Yeah.
Instead of just this stranger show up and, oh, hey.
Hey, I'm here for 8 hours, but we barely know each other.
I mean, we've done it, but we can tell
it's rare.
It's not the
same. Yeah, that is, I do like that if people do their engagement pictures with you and then like, they're used to you guys.
Right.
Yeah. And even before the engagement pictures, we do like a Zoom call just to make sure, like even before they book us, we always say, hey, let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's chat. Let's, and we always tell them we want to make sure we're a good fit. Yeah. Because again, we're with you for a really long time on your wedding day. We want to make sure we're compatible and like you guys, feel comfortable with us. And, we talk through things about wedding, but we also get to know them more, their story, how they met, all those things. Because like you said, we want to build a connection. And then from there, the connection increases once we do their engagement session. Then they get us face to face. They get to experience what it's like to be in front of our cameras. We get to see like how their relationship is, because every couple is different. Right. Some of them are more like giggly and silly and fun, which is very much our style. And some are also more romantic, which is also our style. We're between like romantic, fun, kind of vibes. So when people go ahead and like go through the engagement session with us, we're able to see, okay, these poses work really well for them.
Right.
This is their relationship, like how they click together. And then the wedding day comes and it's like we're hanging out with old friends. We're like, what's up, guys? Yeah. Like we get there, we hug
and then
our
like
brides.
their smiles are more natural.
Oh my gosh,
it's not
100%.
like stiff like statues.
Exactly, 100%. It's like we're saying hi and then we're like, hi, like hugs all around, not just like, an awkward like, hi, I'm here to be with you for 8 hours.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
No, that's true. So you're the editor. Talk to me about editing. What should people expect out of editing? Is it just like colors? Is it like photoshopping? Like what is included?
As far as us, I can't speak for other
everybody, right?
Right. The main thing is color correcting.
Color correcting, yeah.
Photoshop, I don't really Photoshop much unless there's like something I want to remove from the image.
Right.
But the whole gallery is color corrected. Make sure that the lighting, the colors, everything's right.
Everything's right. And what if, do you get requests for people to like edit this and edit that? Is that something that happens or not really?
Rare.
Very rare.
Very rare.
We've
had some brides that are like, can you make this one image black and white? And we're like, of course, like that, but not honestly like to change our editing style or do something different. I don't think we've ever really.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. No requests like that, because they usually find us based on our style, and that's what attracts them to our style. They're like, I love your bright and airy photos and the pops of color and things like that. So usually they don't, at the beginning of our journey, they probably asked way more different things
which is something that happens to everyone. Because when you're starting, you don't know exactly what style you
like.
You just trying different things and you're not consistent with your work.
What works.
Because you have one like that is kind of dark and the other one's, bright. And then you have one that is like very vibrant and the other one's like muted. And so of course people are going to ask because they don't know exactly what they're getting.
Right.
But that's, I think that happens to everyone. But once you like more established and you know exactly what your style is and people see your work and it's very consistent, then I guess they know what to expect already.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. How about any wedding trends? Is there anything that you guys are seeing that you like or don't like?
Do you want honest answers?
I feel like there's some tea here.
There's some things. So I feel like right now the trends that are happening, I feel like, I don't want this to come out wrong, but it's more like younger generation brides, like younger brides that are like in their early 20s getting married. There's like a trend going back to like early 2000 photos where images were like the horizon isn't straight, it's like crooked or like Dutched, what they call, and like direct flash and like these things. And I'm like, didn't we step away from that in the 2000s?
Blurry images?
Well, okay, so we have mixed reviews. We have mixed reviews about blurry images. So when there's movement in the image, we like it. Like there's it's like capturing motion. Right. That's like a trend, and we've actually done it. And I'm like, okay, I kind of love this because there's motion. But when the couple is like standing still and the whole photo is blurry, like why?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
And people are asking for that?
No, but we've seen it come up. Like they don't ask us for it. We did have one bride that was like, hey, I actually kind of like these blurry images. And she kind of like helped us step out of the box a little bit, that I was like, okay, why don't we try this? So we tried it for her engagement session when there was like movement, and then we ended up loving it. We're like, okay, I like this when there's movement and there's a little bit of a blur, but like the ones where they're standing completely still and it's like blurry, I'm like, did you like trip over a rock as you were kicking the shutter? Like, I don't know what happened there, but it's a trend that you see. At least I've seen it on social media, and I'm like not for it.
I have nothing against it.
Yeah, but you boo.
Me personally, I don't like it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I have seen like early 2000s definitely like coming back, and I'm a little like,
like why?
But I also think back
straight?
like I was obsessed with that 70s show, and now I'm thinking, I was like, my dad probably was like, what the heck? Like he was born in 69, so that was his like childhood, and he's probably like, oh, there's a whole show about the 70s, like, and I remember when I got my first pair of Converse, my dad was like, Converse? Like,
they're coming back?
They're coming back? And I was like, yeah, Dad, these are cool. And he's like, I wore those when I was a kid. And I was like, oh.
And I get that. I feel like I get it with fashion, like with fashion trends, because fashion always comes, like right now, if you go to Target, I'm like, this is the clothes I wore when I was in middle school. Like, what is happening? But I feel like photos, I don't know, especially wedding photos, like that's one day. You never get to do it again. Like we feel like it should be timeless. It should be photos you look back on and you're like, you don't think to yourself, oh, why did we do that? Why are all the horizons crooked in my wedding images, as opposed to like, oh man, I look back at this and I'm like, oh, these images are still beautiful. Like I still love our wedding images. I don't look back and look at them and go, oh, why did we do this? I'm just like, I like them. So I guess that's what we want our couples to see, like down the line, to like we're coming up on 12 years. So 12 years later, 10, 15, 20 years that they don't look back and like, oh, half of my gallery is blurry and with like, a horizon that's not straight. Right. So those kinds of trends are just
interesting.
Not our cup of tea.
So a trend that's like coming back maybe. What's your opinion on the film photography?
I think it's super cool.
You like it?
Yeah. I think film is gorgeous.
Do you guys do film or digital?
We don't.
We do digital.
You do digital.
We don't do film.
Yeah, we don't do film.
But I do like film.
Film is beautiful. It looks beautiful. It's got just... Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah?
Yeah. That I'm for.
You are for. I thought you were going to say no.
No.
But you're for it.
Oh, I'm for it. 100%.
Well, when it's done right.
Okay.
Like there's film photographers that is just magic. Like it's like, wow, that is stunning.
Yeah. I do think that I'm not a photographer, so I'm not looking at it the same way you guys are.
Yeah.
I do think that it's really pretty. My issue with it is when the photographer's running out of film and is like, oh, wait, I need to add more film, and I've seen it like delay.
Logistical
on the wedding day. And I'm like,
that makes sense.
We don't have time for this. For you to keep redoing your film.
Sense. I feel like
then
most
the only other
do
thing
both.
is that like the bride was like, hey, can you brighten, like there were like mountains, and in the photo with the film, it was like completely washed out. And she was like, hey, I picked this venue as the mountains. Like, can you bring them back? And they were like, oh no, like they're gone.
Sucks.
So I was a little like, if you just did digital, you could always like make the color.
You can edit it.
You can wash out the mountains, but like you can make it more airy if you want, or make them brighter. But
so that photographer was only film? Like they didn't know digital?
No, yeah.
Oh, snap.
Only film. The photos were beautiful. Like they were beautiful. That my opinion on it got a little like, I was like
the mountains.
The mountains.
I know, that's true. With digital, you can, a lot of photographers that we know that do film, they also do digital. They're like hybrid. So they do both. So like they'll take, I mean, at least that's what I've seen. They'll take like images with their DSLR, and then they'll also pull out film so that they get both.
Okay.
You know, so that way you have the best of both worlds. So if something like that were to happen, they're like, well, I can fix the digital image and like make your mountains pop in the digital photo.
Yeah.
And then usually they'll edit it so that it looks like the film. Like, so
I guess that
like,
was my, I was just like, for a wedding day, I feel like film is an art, and I respect it, and I think it's beautiful.
Yes.
I guess from like logistics on wedding day, I was like, why are like, I don't know, the film changing process that day was just taking too long. I was like, we don't have time for this. But it is a really pretty like art form.
It is.
And you need to know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't know what you're doing, forget it.
Do you ever dabble with it like on a personal?
And when I first started, I took a class like in school, but not like in a person, not really. I never bought a film camera or anything.
Yeah, like the actual film itself is pricey. But the film cameras are pricey. I do respect
it. Oh yeah. And I love it.
Okay.
There's like something about the colors and like the softness. Film is like soft and has like really pretty colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something you get with film that you don't get with digital.
Right.
That's
interesting. Interesting. No, I love hearing people's opinion. And like, obviously I'm looking at it from a totally different view from you guys. So it's interesting to hear everyone's different opinion. So we kind of touched on it, but like, what would you say your thoughts are on like people trusting their photographer? Because I know like it can be really hard to trust people. And even me personally, I've had photos done where it's like the photographer's like, oh, this looks great, trust me. And then later I'm like, I don't.
This ain't it.
This ain't it. Like, no. So, which really has to do with like me personally, like, do I look good in the photo?
Right.
But what do you suggest if someone like telling you like, I don't like this angle, or I don't like my hips, or like, how do you kind of work through that with people? Cause you know, you could be like, oh, you look beautiful. And then later they're like, I hate it.
Yeah, we always actually ask, and that's another thing we always do at the engagement session is we ask, do you have a favorite side? Cause some people do. A lot of people do actually. We ask
usually girls.
Girls, yeah. The guys.
Every now and then you get a guy that's
right.
You know.
So we'll like try to keep her on her favorite side.
Are always more complicated.
We are. It's all right. They love us anyways. But usually we'll ask like, do you have a favorite side? And then the girls will try to like we try to keep the couples on their favorite sides. And then we ask, is there anything that we should know? Like be
aware of.
Yeah. Anything we should be aware of. And then sometimes we'll have brides that are like, oh, I don't like my arms in this certain position or whatever. And we'll be mindful of it. But I think that comes with like years of experience and like trial and error that we've been like, okay, we need to ask them before we even get started on a photo session. So it's something we keep in mind so they don't come back and say, you know, oh, I hated the way I looked in all of these photos. Cause it happens. I mean, it's happened to me before, you know, where I've been like, oh yeah, you know, I think the photos look great. And then I look at it, I'm like, oh, I hate the way I look in all of these pictures.
It's hard,
you know, and it's a me thing. It's not a them thing.
Right.
But we try to be proactive and like kind of get ahead of that and saying, you know, asking those questions. And then I think another thing about like trusting your photographer, it's really important to like look through their work, look through all of their stuff, check out their Instagram, you know, all of that, like, and scroll, go on their website, go, if they have a blog, go on their blog. And I always tell people, like, don't be afraid to ask them for like a full gallery of like a wedding day. Like, can I get a full gallery so I can see like what your work looks like throughout the entire day?
Right.
Because Instagram is a highlight reel.
That's
That's
true.
what it is. We put our best work. Yep. We put
Yeah.
our best work, our favorite images. That's what goes on Instagram. But when you get a full gallery, you really see, you get a feel of the entire day and what it would be like for that entire day to get captured. So I always tell people, like, I don't think you should be afraid to ask for full galleries.
Yeah.
I feel like most photographers are fine with that. I mean, I've never heard of anybody that's like,
we're fine with it.
we are.
Yeah.
Even though I want to say at the beginning, we're like, do we want to send a personal gallery to, you know, but it's fine.
Oh yeah. Our thought was the couple's personal moments, but it really wasn't any, you know, it wasn't
Unless
anything
there's
crazy.
something there that, you know, like a boudoir session.
A boudoir, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Right, not that, but
Yeah. We wouldn't send that. But yeah, I think having the full gallery, like looking through their Instagram.
And seeing like a real wedding that you guys have done, like all of them are real, but the thing with weddings is like, you're not working with just models. You're not working with people who know how to pose. And, so I guess like if you're a bride listening, you know, look for that, look for photographers, like ask them for some air quote, like real weddings and people who are not models and people who, you know, don't necessarily know how to pose and do it. Like see if, how those photos turned out. And, cause I'm sure a big part of your day is telling people like how to pose and what to do. And if you were working with models all day, it might be a little easier than real people, but weddings are
regular
people.
And we actually get that question a lot. And we get that comment a lot during like our initial Zoom calls with our couples. They're always like, I'm really awkward in front of the camera. I go, perfect. So is everyone else. That's what everyone tells us. We got you. Like, that's our job to be able to guide you. And I think one of the perks of being a husband and wife team is like, we can literally show them exactly how to pose.
Oh, that is helpful.
Like, we literally are like, do this, put your hands here. And like, we model it. And then they literally just like copy us.
They're like, okay.
And I feel like that's one of the perks that we have, you know, because they're like, oh, okay, she's looking there. Like, they just kind of copy us. we pose for them and then they mimic
copy
it.
Us.
Copy us. No, that is true. At my own wedding, my photographer, which I have a really good relationship with her, but she told my husband, she was like, put your hand like on her face. And he literally goes, like almost smacks me in the face. And she took the picture and she like threw it in the gallery just because it's so funny. His hand is just like, and his face is like, I was like, oh, okay, I
don't think that's what she meant.
I don't think that's what she meant, but alrighty. So I'm sure that you have a love-hate relationship with Pinterest. What's your thoughts on it?
Nope, that.
Want to get that?
Love and hate. I feel like,
or maybe it's just a hate.
No, it's not just a hate. I feel like if we rarely get Pinterest boards. I feel like our brides actually really trust us. Thank God. I feel like, you know, maybe because of what we put up on social media and things like that, like they trust us. But once in a while, we'll get a bride who will send us a Pinterest board. And we just always make it clear, like, hey, we're going to use this for inspiration. And I think it's great for inspiration, you know, things like that. But we always tell them, like, you don't know the situation of this wedding, the lighting, the time of day, the weather, you know, all those things play a factor in this specific image, right? So you have to be mindful of like using it for inspiration, but not like copying exactly what it is because you just don't know. You don't know what was happening in that wedding day. You don't know if that's a styled shoot and those are literally like models,
right?
You know, like you don't know because Pinterest is just, you know, it's like a search engine. So you just get, you know, all those things. So it's like, we love it for inspiration, but
great for ideas.
Not
going to copy.
Exactly.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Like you don't want someone to say, oh, can you pretty much do this exact pose or, you know, like this, or whatever the case is. But
Yeah.
But that's when it gets like, give us a little room to be creative.
Right.
Right. Because then you just become a copy. And that's not what we are.
Yeah.
Right. So. Right. I mean, I see it a lot with like decor, which isn't your thing, but with decor, I want this. And it's like, the price tag on that is way more than you think it is.
Yeah, I can imagine that's even...
Which honestly, it's kind of heartbreaking because like a lot of people, probably girls, have been like making their Pinterest board since middle school. And it's like, unfortunately, some of these things that look so common on Pinterest are just not realistic. And like you said, it might be a styled shoot or it's models and like things are more expensive than you think. And, you know, the situation, like you said, it's really hard to recreate that exact situation. So I love it for ideas because it does. Absolutely. I mean, even me, if I'm planning something and I'm looking for ideas, it sparks creativity.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a cool prop. I should get something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Or like we'll see poses and I'm like, oh, it'll like trigger like like, oh man, I like this pose. Let's try to, you know, make it more us.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Use it for inspo, but not copying it.
No.
What's your favorite part of wedding day?
Oh, I feel like,
I mean, for me, it's, I want to say portraits, anything from first look to just the portraits of the couple. That's my favorite part. That's when you get to be a little bit more creative and things like that. The rest is just like, you're just pretty much going with the flow.
With the flow. And those are the ones that they're really going to look back on. Like the ones that will be hanging in their house. Yeah, the ones that they'll make the background on their phone.
Yeah. I love that part. I also love getting ready, but that's probably because I'm a girl and I love that like moment. And now we have 2 daughters. So like every time the mom gets the bride ready, I just think like, oh my gosh, like that might be me one day, you know, like that kinds of thing. So I love the getting ready part. Like when she's like having that moment of like, I'm in my dress for the first time, like hair and makeup done. I just think that moment is really sweet too. I love capturing that. But also first looks are jam. I love first looks. Those moments are just the sweetest.
It is sweet.
Really the best. And first looks with dads like that. Oh, no, gets me every time.
I don't know.
Every time.
That one, yeah.
That one gets me. I'm not okay during first looks with dads.
I'm not okay.
No.
So I ask everyone that's on the podcast, do you have any wedding day horror stories?
We do, unfortunately.
A recent one, too.
A recent one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my gosh. It was a wedding last year.
Yes. I mean, luckily, I don't think we've ever had a horror story.
Like with us?
Like with us or with our couples or anything like that, except for
this one wedding.
It wasn't even our couple.
It was our couple.
No, I mean, like, it wasn't.
Oh, like the horror story wasn't it wasn't the couple.
Yes.
It was the DJ showed up to the wedding like high as a kite. No. It was bad. Like we were like, at first I was like, okay, does he not know what he's doing? He couldn't get the ceremony mic to work. Like the whole ceremony, there was no microphone, nothing. And then like, we were like, okay, like he literally got a microphone and like used the cord to wrap it on a stick. Like, and his excuse was, what was his excuse?
I don't know. It was just weird.
It was really weird. So from the beginning, it's weird because you're hired DJ and you can't get the microphone to work at the ceremony. And I'm like, okay. And he seemed really frazzled and like kept combing his hair. And I was like, what is wrong with this guy?
And sweating on a chilly day.
Oh my gosh, it was cold. Yeah, you're right. It was a chilly day and he was sweating. I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. But this guy, and then as the day goes on, we realize like, oh my gosh, like I think he's high. Like we were like 90% certain he was like high. And then we talked to the planner and she was like, I'm pretty sure I smelled like something when he opened the car doors. She's like, it all makes sense now. I'm like, it was, and he was like dancing on the dance floor, like
by himself
in the corner. I still laugh.
Was the bride like,
they were so upset. They ended up getting a full refund. Cause the planner was like called during the wedding and was like, I need to get a full refund for this bride. Like he's literally It was, our heart broke because at the end of the night.
It's so sad because it's like, it's one shot.
Yep.
Like, and that's what's hard is like, I mean, I've had, thankfully, like not like a horror story, but just brides tell me like, oh, I found this guy and he'll do it for like half the price. And
are you sure?
I'm always like,
the thing is, this was a company we've worked with before. Right. And the guy they subcontracted was the issue because like, when I tell you, like, he was in a corner dancing, like, no, I mean, we shoot a lot of weddings. Like, DJs are like behind their little booth, mixing their things, you know, with their little headphones.
No, he go to the dance floor.
He walked
and just stop and dance, and you were like, what?
And he like with the microphone was like as the song's going, I forgot about that too. As the songs are going, he's like, yeah. Like in the mic, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like literally both of us were like, and I kept trying to get Vic to record him because I was like, nobody's gonna believe us. We couldn't. We didn't get a chance to record him, but we literally could not believe our eyes. We were like, what is going on? And at the end of the night, like, you know, we stayed for their private last dance. We felt so bad because they like, as they were doing their private last dance and we're photographing it, they were like, man, the music, it wasn't it. Like, it wasn't good. Like, and we were just so sad for them. We're like, oh my gosh. But we're trying to like cheer them up and tell them like, it's okay, guys. You guys are married, like trying to, lift their spirits a little bit. But, at the end of the night, as he's packing up, he's telling us like all these things and he's just talking and we're like,
did anyone say like, hey, dude, stop? Like, did the planner tell him like, stop dancing? And
they didn't. They just like, because I feel like all of us vendors like didn't know what was happening. We were all like what is
didn't
going
even know how to critique him.
Exactly. We were just like,
like, we were just like, is this happening? What, like the sound was horrible. Like you couldn't hear.
Oh my God. That was the other thing. Yes. Like, all his microphones were like you couldn't understand the speeches.
Like the speeches, it was just.
It was bad.
We feel bad. We feel so bad for the couple.
Like the dad got upset and he was like, I'm not using a mic. Or like just like put it away.
Right, yeah.
Because it was like nonstop. Like those microphones were terrible, cutting in and out. Like it was atrocious.
Ugh.
And then as the night went on, it just got worse. And then he danced and then it was just weird. And we were like, what is going on? And I think
like I things like as a planner that I worry, I'm like there's only like I can plan, but then like there's things out of my control. I can't plan that.
Like the planner was trying to wrangle him together, but then she could only do so much because
like, if they show up with the sound system that's terrible, it's like I can't do like I don't have a backup plan for that. Like I always want a backup plan for everything, and I'm like, I don't know, if a photographer doesn't arrive, like I got my iPhone, like I'll be taking pictures, but like, I don't know the backup plan.
No, there was no
maybe
backup
I should
plan
carry
for
a
that.
camera with me. I haven't thought about that.
There you go.
Or a DJ.
Next thing you know, you become a photographer.
There you go. That's how it starts.
Yeah, I'm gonna put like a mini sound system in my car.
Just
and
for every vendor, you need a backup just in case. I wish we would have had a backup that day. I felt so bad for the bride and groom, but
yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what is one piece of advice that you want to give to, I guess, brides, grooms, whoever, couples?
I would say just have your wedding day be about you. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of social media trends and I saw this and I saw that on Instagram and this came up on my reels or TikTok or whatever.
And this is what we did at our wedding.
Right. There's so much noise out there. And I feel like it's just really important to make it about you two and your marriage and like the life you're going into now, because a wedding is just one day.
Yeah.
Marriage is like, hopefully forever.
Yeah.
God willing, forever,
And you want to enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stressed. You don't want that to be the memory.
Right.
You were stressed out, that you didn't enjoy it. That you didn't spend some time with your friends and people that are there.
Right.
Which is why first looks are amazing.
Circle back.
Get to enjoy their cocktail hour.
Shameless first look plug. That usually gets our grooms though. I'm like, well, you get to enjoy cocktail hour. They're like, okay, we'll do it.
Okay,
like you can start drinking right after the ceremony. They're like, sign me up. We're doing it.
And But really, you want to enjoy your day.
Yeah.
It's your day. It's not anybody else's.
Yeah.
It's your day.
Make it about you, what you love. You know, like some couples are more low key and laid back. Like I feel like so many people feel pressure to like live up to these social media standards. So social media can be a double-edged sword. Like you can get inspiration from it, but I feel like sometimes brides will just go into this place of like, oh, is this good enough or that? I feel like, taking away that comparison and just making it true to you as a couple is the most important thing.
It's your day. That's
right.
Yep.
Right.
I often I don't know, when I'm driving, I'll call my mom a lot. And when I leave like meetings or decor, and I'm like, to be honest, sometimes I don't like what the bride is picking, and my mom cracks me up, but she's still like, well, tell them that that's ugly. Mom, I can't, it's what she wants. It's whatever. It's whatever she wants.
Like, I know it's ugly, but it's not my wedding.
It's not your wedding.
It's her ugly wedding, Mom. No.
Obviously, my mom would never want me to say it like that. But sometimes she'll be like, well, just tell her it's ugly. I'm like, I can't. It's her day, which honestly, you don't have to like what everyone else likes. Right. And you don't have to like the trends. It is your day. So pick whatever feels you want, have fun, and that's really all that matters.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Well, this is really fun. I'm glad that you guys came.
Thank you.
Moral of the story, do a first look.
Yes.
Is I think the recap.
Pretty much.
Do a first look.
If you're listening to this, do a first look.
Is there anything else that you guys want to share? Your social media, your website, where can people find you?
Yeah. Well, on social, we're at Kristy and Vic. It's Kristy with a K.
Kristy with a K.
Kristy and Vic. VIC.
Yeah.
I know I said that really well.
Oh, yeah.
And then our website is just KristyandVic.com. That's where you can find us. You see more of our work, our blog.
And you're located, where what's your range? Like South Florida?
South Florida, but really we go anywhere people take us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Florida and beyond.
South Florida and beyond. Yep.
There you go. All right. Well, this was really fun. Thank you guys for coming. I'm glad we got to do this.
Us too.